We're back now with a very special guest, a friend of ours who's made his appearance on the podcast a good amount of times now. I would say it's been a handful, if not more. Danny King, thank you so much for joining us, man. Great to see you.
No, it's great to see you guys too. Love always chatting with the boys. It's always a good time.
So how's it going? I mean, we've talked to you before, since post-graduation, the times in California. How's it going over there?
It's good. California, mainly LA. It's an interesting town. Yeah, the stuff you see here is something like you would never see anywhere else. I feel like, but it's nice. I like being out here. I like what I do for work. That means the reason why I'm out here. I wouldn't have come out here if I wasn't offered the job opportunity I was. It's nice though. You can't complain when it's sunny most of the time out here.
Yeah, how's that time working with TMZ? Any exciting, peculiar stories that we might want to hear?
Peculiar stories. I can't think
that we can hear that you're allowed to break on the pod. Yeah.
Oh, allowed. Oh, I mean, I can't say I got any to break on the pod. I mean, we all know it wasn't funny based on the circumstances, but like when we all saw Kadarius Toney get arrested, I mean, I couldn't believe it when they said the NFL player is Kadarius Toney. I was like, shut up, no way, it's him. And then I saw that mugshot. I was like, it's you can't write it. You can't write it better than that right there.
Than that. Absolutely. So let's get into the Giants offseason news. Now, obviously, it's kind of the down point, like after rookie minicamps, before OTAs, we're kind of in this sort of dry period, you could say, after the really big climax of the draft. So looking at that, what did you think of this New York Giants draft class just as a whole?
I was a fan of it. Obviously, you get Abdul Carter. You can't. It's hard to find a complaint there, especially after when they passed on someone like Micah Parsons for Kadarius Toney, or traded back, I should say. Obviously, but I mean, I was a fan of it. Jackson Dart. Obviously, that's just what will determine if this draft gets remembered for being a good one or a bad one. Because if they finally can hit on a decent quarterback, I'm not even looking for like a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. I live in reality. If he could just be decent and just win us some games and make the Giants relevant again, then you can't. This is a great draft. So I was a fan of those two picks. Obviously, everyone loves Cam Scatterbo. I would love to see him actually on the field first before I crown him as the next coming of Barry Sanders. It feels like that's how some people have somewhat crowned him. But I mean, it's hard to find much complaints with this draft. They drafted Marcus Bow. I learned it's not Mbow, even though
it's not Mbow. We made that mistake too.
There's an M right there. I can get into a whole rant about that, but that's besides the point. It feels like on paper it was Joe Shane's most complete draft, but you need to see it on the field first before you crown anyone as worth the pick.
And would you say with the Jackson Dart pick, because I think there was a lot of, I guess, drama at the time, right? Because Shedeur Sanders was sliding, which I'm sure, looking back at it now that he got selected in the 5th round, Giants fans are probably less contentious about it. But at the time, pick, 28, 29, 30 roll around, you're kind of sitting there after we selected Jackson Dart. How were you kind of feeling? Were you wishing that we had taken Shedeur Sanders? Were you kind of turned off by the fact that he'd fallen that far already? Or what was kind of your mindset?
I was on the mindset of I didn't really care for them to draft Coro because I didn't think these guys, at least in the first round, were of the grades that you had of guys last year, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. So I wasn't mad the Giants didn't take a quarterback first. I was hoping Abdul would be the pick. I personally wasn't a big fan of Shedeur. Maybe I'm digging too much into it, but I feel like I'm just not sure how Shedeur would thrive in a market like New York with all the distractions around him. I didn't care to have Deion Sanders barking up at my team's door every time something goes wrong with Shedeur. I think Shedeur will be good. I just don't think New York was the place for him to be good. Now, granted, I also don't think he should have been drafted in the 5th. What was it? 5th round? 5th round he went. I don't think he should have been drafted there. I think that was a little dramatic in my opinion. I thought if he didn't go first day, he easily should have went the second day. By the 3rd day, I felt like teams were trying to send a message to him. That's just my take on that. So if they left this draft without a quarterback, I wouldn't have really cared that much. They obviously probably would have drafted one, whether it was the 3rd round, since Dylan Gabriel, guys like that were still there. But clearly Jackson Dart was clearly Dayball's guy. So that's why I'm also very much more excited to have Jackson Dart, because it's like, this is his guy. He finally has someone that he can live and die on. And if it works out, then we might have a nice little duo here for the next few years.
I want to go back to Abdul Carter because, as you mentioned, especially we talked about, he hasn't even played it on the field. But just looking back, even before the Joe Schoen era, in the past decade of top 10 first-round draft pick for the Giants, you have guys like Eli Apple, Saquon, Daniel Jones, Andrew Thomas, and then in the last 5 years, Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, Malik Neighbors, Abdul Carter. So a little bit of, you could say bust in there for a top 5 pick, top 10 pick at that. Is there any worry about Carter to, kind of join that group of Giants first round top 10 players just, with development?
I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, you gotta learn. I mean, right now, I don't want to call him a bust, but you're kind of seeing it with Banks, that's not working out. Evan Neal, you can already chalk him up as that's just already hasn't worked out. So there's always a risk, and obviously with him being a new to the position, how is that going to, you could dominate guys in college, sure, but when you get to the NFL, you're going to be versed in just a totally different game. How is he going to hold up against an offensive line like the Eagles? There's questions there. So the top tier talent like that, but I mean, I have faith that Abdul Carter will work out. Just when you see him in action, he just moves different, and he just got a swag about him. So I believe Abdul Carter will work out. But like you said, the Giants have selected plenty of guys that haven't worked out before. We talked before the show, like Kadarius Toney, guys out of the league and dealing with court cases now. Eli Apple, I mean, he was on the Dolphins, I believe, as of late, but I think he's also just chilling in retirement now. So it's always a bust. It's always a risk whenever these Giants are taking players, as it goes with everyone. But I have faith at least Abdul Carter will work out. But like we said before, if he works out, that's great. But everyone only cares now if Jackson Dart works out, because quarterback is that spot.
Yeah. And I think looking at Joe Schoen's first class now, I mean, he really put himself behind the 8 ball, missing. I mean, I don't want to say fully missing yet, because we don't really know what Kayvon's going to be as a full-time pro for the next few seasons, but I would still say a missing 2 top 7 picks, in his first draft, and being able to recover from that, and then the next draft going and potentially missing his first round pick there as well. I think he really got stuck in a bad position. We kind of had very low expectations almost, if you think about it, in the drafts going forward. And I think that has made this draft class just seem so exciting based on the fact that on paper it looks so good compared to some of the others we've had. But I do have to say, I think there was more of a theme in this class, and I've said this throughout any of our draft talk posts. And I think you could see that there was a theme and a type of player they were going for, and that gave me more confidence in Joe Schoen. And I think that's what's giving most Giants fans confidence, because before it really seemed like he was kind of just drafting randomly. He didn't really know what the identity of the team was. He was drafting by positions of need, not best player available, which is not a recipe for success, which I think he's now realized. So it
took a little bit, though.
Yeah, it took 3 or 4 years, but he got there. And I think that has brought a lot of confidence to Giants fans. And with that, I'm kind of long-winded to get here, but how do you kind of feel going into this season now? Do you feel more confident in the Giants' ability, in the Giants organization, now that they kind of shown that they might have some sort of plan potentially?
A little bit, but not fully, because the Giants have just let me down so often, especially since 2011. It's just been letdown after letdown. Obviously, they show a little more of a plan this year, and you would think that maybe that plan will have time to develop, since they might have bought themselves at least another year as well, with because they have to at least try and give these rookies, especially Jackson Dart, a chance to work out. So it does seem like there's a plan, but there's also just I just don't know. I just have just become so hesitant to believe what the Giants are putting in front of me, that it's going to be a good product. So maybe behind the scenes, it's working out a little bit better, but I don't know. I mean, what shows on the field is what matters the most. And like you said, right now, it's we're caught up in that he finally drafted best player available that didn't draft for needs. That's what it did feel like. But we got to see it out there in action. And at the end of the day, there's the product on the field besides 2022 and those random few games and towards the end of 2023 just hasn't been there. So I would like to see more of it. You can argue 2023 is those final few games of what gives you hope that you have the right coach in place, because he made Tommy DeVito look like the greatest Italian to ever walk the face of the earth. So we'll see if the product on the field develops, but the Giants still have plenty of ways to mess this thing up.
Rapid fire, Tommy DeVito on the team next year?
Oh, no. As much as I would love for him to be on the team.
Practice squad. Or does he get swiped from another team for their
I think he'll get swiped because teams probably saw something in there.
He's won games.
Yeah, he's won games. Like teams, no way he is just on the Giants practice squad. Maybe he could start there, but no way a team, whenever inevitable a quarterback goes down, he's got to get swiped. He has the ability to win games. Not in the most normal ways, but he has the ability.
I don't know how much of a Giants Reddit guy you are, because I'm not either, but I saw this swirling around in the last few days. Why the Giants will have no cap space in 2025, talking about how they're the 16th in the dead cap because they cut Daniel Jones, talking about how contracts for future players in the years continuing, they're having trouble there. And then like backloading contracts, and then how they were big free agent spenders in this past offseason. They're going to have no money this upcoming year. Like, what are they going to do? What are your thoughts on that? Do they even need the money? I mean, this is the whole thing. The Giants had apparently a very good draft class, and they brought in all these free agents to fill voids at those current positions. Do you think that's a worry for you that they won't have a lot of spending money going into this season?
I mean, I remember people were saying that this year the Giants were in a better cap situation. I mean, they had to cut Daniel Jones. The thing is, though, people find a way around the cap. I mean, the Saints have been doing it for years at this point. Now, granted, they're going to be paying for it mightily, at least for the next few years. So, I mean, I'm not overly worried. The Giants will find a way around it. I hope they do it in much nicer terms than they did it with I forgot the cornerback this year that they told him basically don't pay rent this month or something like that. That Jordan Renan article that came out during the season. So I can at least trust that they'll figure out the cap space because they're the math people. I ain't the math people. I say go spend the money on whoever you want because it ain't my money. So go spend that.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to push back money with Brian Burns, freed up like $10 million. I mean, you've got huge contracts elsewhere on the team that they can definitely take advantage of, and I think they will. I mean, Andrew Thomas still has a ton of room in his deal. Dexter Lawrence, same. So not super concerned about that, but I did see that also, Josh, kind of swirling around. And of course, we all go to panic mode as Giants fans as soon as we see one thing that might potentially be an issue.
It's the most offseason convo on May 25th. Yeah. Filming this, everyone's like, all right, well, we're in cap hell. We'll see you next year.
The thing is, though, I mean, everything goes well. The whole point is we were big spenders this offseason to get all these guys at different positions. I mean, they signed a lot of players, and then they have this draft. You're going to hopefully assume that, they did that intentionally. Like, it's going to be okay that the team doesn't have money because the players that they filled in this past offseason will do the job. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
And there's also contracts that will be coming off the books there soon. Obviously there'll be guys they have to sign. So I'm not overly
extensions
worried.
Coming soon also too for a few guys, I'm sure. So I mean, you're never out of options, I think.
And plus Joe Schoen has found ways to restructure contracts. No matter if you have a contract, he will restructure you. That should be known already.
Yeah, exactly. I guess the one thing I kind of want to finish up on here is the schedule, since that just came out a few days ago. Obviously, it is daunting. I think that I put it in a very friendly way with that word. You could say it's much scarier than that even. How do you think the Giants go about navigating this schedule, and how should Giants fans go about tempering their expectations? Because even if this team is playing pretty well, they may not win a ton of games, even so. And if they don't play well, they will probably not win any, if many.
I just want to know how this happened. Like, how is the schedule this? I mean, is it just faith that every team got this good around this time and that we just had the most incredible? I mean, no way they win more than one game to start in the first four. What, Cowboys, Commanders are good. Cowboys, I mean, Cowboys, I don't know about them anymore. But Commanders, Chiefs, Chargers, I mean, that's just like walking through fire. Then you got the Saints. I mean, sure, the Eagles, Broncos are good now. So, I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, I don't know how to judge this year. It's really, you really got to judge based off what they put on the field and how they play. Because I don't think it's fair to say Joe Shane and Brian Dable should lose their jobs if I forgot what it is now, 6-11. Is that the new magic number or whatever it is for? Like, I don't think it's fair to call for their jobs on that when they're just playing dogs. Now, granted, obviously, you're an NFL team. You should be able to beat other NFL teams. But I think really you just got to judge the product on the field. But, I mean, they did get enough guys to maybe be competitive. And obviously, the NFL is so different every year. I'm saying the Commanders are good this year. Are going to be good this year.
Who knows?
Jada Daniels could forget how to spin the football. So it is crazy how daunting this schedule is. I mean, once you get through those 4 games, you got maybe the Saints, Broncos games, or you could probably win. Maybe even the 49ers now, since they're not that good anymore. It's not going to be easy. So I'm going to be more hoping that they are just competitive and win a game or 2 at home, unlike they did last year. I just want them to be competitive so then I can be like, all right, I can see the vision going forward. That's what I want. I'm not judging this. Whatever John Mara said, he said he wants the playoffs this year. I think you got to live in reality. I don't think the Giants are a playoff team right now. I think they could be competitive and make noise, but that's all I see from them.
Yeah, I think you could see flashes, but I mean, even if every single thing trickled right for the Giants this year and Russell Wilson turned back into 2015 Russell Wilson, I still don't think we'd be able to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's like
the schedule is
they
ridiculous.
play too many good teams. And plus, we're praising this team honestly. Like Shane Bowen. Did I just mess up our defensive coordinator's name?
No, you're right.
It is, yeah, Shane Bowen. Sorry, he last year wasn't anything crazy. Like you didn't. I wasn't really.
Got a lot better players now, though.
Yeah, he's got a lot better players, but you get good players. How's the scheme gonna work? Like I still wish Wink Martindale was our defensive coordinator. I know he was much more of a risk taker, but Brian Dable had to be a big baby and get mad at him. And I remember being on the train that day, seeing that beef story, and I was like, oh, please no, don't let us.
That was an insane story with like him and videos of him in the airport, and then
I was like
coming out of the building. That was crazy.
I was like, just please let him back. But it's up to Shane Bowen to utilize the talent they brought in and he doesn't have issues. They brought you in guys. They brought you in a safety that probably should still be Xavier McKinney, but they were like, oh no, we're gonna let you go because we don't think you're worth it. Now he's an all-pro with the Green Bay Packers. So it's really the defense. I just want to see Shane Bowen utilize the talent they brought in because they're making sure he has the chance to produce this year.
The last thing I have, just speaking of coordinators, since we brought it up, is like, remember with Daniel Jones being the quarterback, everyone was talking about if Kafka or Dable was going to call the plays just to fit like Daniel Jones. And now it's the first time in years where the Giants have other quarterbacks at hand, most likely Russell Wilson, the starter. But I mean, does that like argument mean anything now? Like, do we care if Kafka or Dable are calling plays? Because it's not Jones who's the quarterback for the team. I don't know.
I think it's back to Kafka is what I think is going to happen. It seems.
I mean, it's a good question because obviously he took away the play calling abilities from the guy, and I mean he's still here. So I mean, like you probably should pay him to maybe call plays. So I hope it goes back to Kafka because what made 2022 so good was Dayball was focused on the team as a whole. Obviously 2023 sucks, so he had to take play calling away from him. But I don't think Kafka and Tommy DeVito would have worked out together the way Dayball and DeVito would work out because Dayball's like that QB guy. So I hope it does go back to Kafka. I think also maybe it sounds crazy, but I mean because it's only his first year here. But I mean, who does Russell Wilson want to have in his ear? If he truly wants Brian Daboll in his ear, don't put Kafka in his ear just because he has the title of coordinator. Give it to Daboll. So I think that is how it should go, it should probably be Kafka because I mean you keep keeping the guy here, like you're forcing him against his will at this point. Just like let him call plays. So I say it'll probably be Kafka, but if Russell Wilson says I want Daboll as my game day dude, it'd be Daboll.
Last one, record prediction, or you can just give the amount of wins you think this team gets before training camp, all the noise begins. What are you thinking right now?
So I don't think they're a free win bad team like they were last year. I don't see how they go over 500. That seems a little bit of a stretch. I see them winning probably 6 to 7 games this year. I think that's just realistic, but I won't be mad at the end of the year with 6 or 7 wins. I'll be more mad based on how the team plays. If they play well and they look like they're fighting all the way through the end, then I will be satisfied with the season because then you could just look forward to next year. But I mean, if they win 8 games this year, then I mean they earned 8 games because like we talked about, this is just dog after dog team. Basically, you don't really have only the Saints. Like I said, maybe the Niners, depending on what they are this year, and the Raiders are really the teams that maybe are going to be liked.
Yeah. Check out all this stuff for TMZ Sports on Twitter at Danny King. Danny, thank you so much, man, for coming on for another episode of The Giant Take, talking some all-season ball, in the dead point of the off-season, but glad we could get this combo in.
Always, guys. It's always a pleasure talking ball, especially you just got to hope the Giants can be good this year. Is all you can ask for.
Yeah. All you can ask for. Well, at least at this point, at the end of May, this is kind of like the chill one where it's like, yeah, it's all vibes. We got a good draft.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you just take it all before everything starts in training camp.
Exactly.
Thanks again, Danny. Appreciate it.
Thank you.